Do you want to get better at the martial arts? And I mean, not a little bit, like much better and rapidly. And not just you, but everybody on the mat with you? I know I do. I know I want that for everybody around me. And I know exactly what I'm going to do to make it happen. Something that's been on my mind a lot lately, especially when it comes to jiu-jitsu. Now, I train multiple arts. I feel this way in all of them, but jiu-jitsu especially, because for me, running a jiu-jitsu club as a blue belt, if I'm at the top, what does that mean for the rest of the place, right? It's a bunch of white belts, got a blue belt in there, got people that are getting close to their blue belt, but nothing beyond that. Well, how do we get better? How do you improve the top end? How do you improve the lower end, right? Like people who have some skill can pass that skill to people who don't have it. But what do you do for myself and the other blue belt and the people who are coming up on that? How do you become better when you don't have somebody better around you? Here's the deal. If you have an art that spars, specifically uses live training, live drilling, in order to become better, to learn your art, to test your art, to get the results you're looking for, to measure what you do, then very common, you're going to run into people or yourself collecting things that they know how to do, that they can do, and it works. And they can do it all the time, and it works on a lot of people, but you don't know how they do it. It's just they have their things, the things that they do. Well, here's the deal. Tell your secrets. Share it. I decided, it's been on my mind, I've decided that the way that I'm going to get better, the way that I'm going to make everybody around me better, is if I have something that works, you're going to know about it. And if I have a way to compromise that, to counter that, you're going to know about that. And if there's something else that can be done as the counters to counters to counters to counters goes, you're going to know about that. And I want that to be the same way all over the mat. If you know how to do it, I want to know about it. If it's working for you, I want to know about it. If I can make it stop, what I can do to stop you from being able to do it, I want to know about that. Because when we have that, when we have abilities that we can do, things that work for us, that people don't know how to stop, then that only benefits us temporarily. But letting people know how to stop you, to counter that thing that you can do, means you have to get better. You have no choice. You have to get better. You have to improve. You have to learn ways to counter the counter you just showed them. You've got to learn ways to do something different or to make it work better so that it's hard to counter it that way. You've got to learn ways to handle just something new. When they're doing these things, coming up with different things, you got to take that and then you've got to grow. Because you just went from being able to do a thing that worked well for you, and maybe you were even tapping people, maybe that was how you were managing this, the roles that you're doing, or the sparring that you're doing, that's how you're feeling good about where you're at, and you just gave it away. And now everybody can stop you from doing it, and now you're not doing as good. So now you have to become better. You have to become more well-rounded. You got to have different options. You got to have different ways of doing things. And every time you do that, when you discover that new way, if you then share that, and then you discover a way to counter it, or somebody else counters it on you, and you share that, everybody grows. It's one thing to have the curriculum and be like, this is technique, here's how you counter that technique, blah, blah, blah. But I've definitely seen over the years technique and the counters and the known main things, and then you roll somebody who has discovered something that works better for them. And then you learn that. And you're like, oh, what did you just do? And hopefully you can figure it out. But if you can't, hopefully you can talk to them and say, what did you just do? Show me that. And then that's in there. But then you can't take that and be like, now I got something you don't have. No, you got to take that and you got to pass that on too. Hey, yeah, when I do that, and it doesn't mean you have to lose, right? Like, that sounds weird, but if you're rolling and you submit somebody to something, it doesn't mean that you have to stop and be like, hold on, before I submit you to this. This is that. No, you can go ahead and submit them. But then immediately be like, hey, the next time this happens, here's what you can do. Try this. Let me show you what I did there. You don't have to. But if you do, the people around you will get better. And if the people around you get better, you will get better. You'll have to. You'll have to come up with a way. And when everybody increases in their ability, everybody benefits, right? What's the phrase? A rising tide raises all ships. If I can do something that rises the tide, all ships come up. Little ships, big ships, doesn't matter. Old ships, new ships, whatever. All of that rises. If we share our secrets, the things that work for us, that we know how to do, if we share those, and we take the time to make sure that you know how to do it to me, and then maybe I've got to come up with a way to deal with it, because maybe I don't know how to counter the thing that I do. I just know that I can do it, and nobody's been able to counter it. Well, if I show other people how to do it, well, now I have to figure out how to counter it, because you're doing it to me. That's the way. Take the time, tell your secrets, share what you know, become better as a group. And yeah, I'm motivated on this because I'm looking for how do I improve the top end of a low end club. When it comes to jiu-jitsu, blue belt is the beginning, right? It's not very far. So that's not very high. We've got a lot of work to do, and it's going to be difficult without somebody else on the mat who's able to take us further than that. And when we're doing that with like seminars or inviting somebody out or something like that, well, we can't do that every day. It's not the same as training all the time. But that doesn't mean that this won't benefit the other arts that I do, right? If you know how to do a thing, even if you've been doing it for a long time, you don't have to be a blue belt in the top of your class. You could have done it for a long time, black belt of some degree, and you could be doing this all the time. Don't hold that. Don't keep it. Don't squirrel it away so that nobody can ever beat you. You can't defeat this one thing I know how to do. I just can always do this thing. Screw that. That's ego. That ego is worthless. Ego is the antithesis to growth. We need to be able to explore the things that make us have ego, shed that, and become better. Don't rely on the thing you know how to do. Someone will come who knows how to deal with it, or someone will figure it out because you keep doing it to them. And I will at least be a person who continues to do. There are people out there who get really good, they know how to do stuff, and then as people get better, then they quit sparring them. I won't spar you. Right? I don't see that as much in jiu-jitsu, but some of the other arts, as people get higher up, they quit sparring, they quit working with people. And a lot of that's that ego telling them, no, if I do that, you might realize that I'm not as good as you think I am. And I like that you think that I'm good. I like that you think that I'm unstoppable, unbeatable. I'm so good at this. Screw that. Be good. And if you're not good, become good. Become better. When people around you become better, you become better. And guess what? If you get old, you have health issues, stuff like that, and you can't do it, why punish other people? If you have a thing you can do, and you're like, well, I just won't work with you because of that, because I don't want to give up that. No, it's okay to make people better than you, to take people and make them better than you are. You're going to see it. You should see it. It should be happening on the mat. Make people better, even if they become better than you, because then they can make you better. Whatever you do, try not to get stuck in that ego game. Share what you know, increase the skill around you, and you will benefit. Everyone will.